this is the finale. I'm going to take the last 20 minutes with you to really land this in a beautiful way for all of us. There's a few things I want you to take away from this channel, no matter who I'm speaking to. If I'm speaking to you as a participant of the channel, because this is technically our last channel call. If you are someone who watched the summit with us, this world, it really is, you impact people. Whether you know it or not, you are impacting people. On the day where you know it, on the day where you decide it, then you can choose how. How do I impact people? And this becomes a really beautiful question. And you get to decide every day of your life how that's going to be. And it can be in conversations behind the scenes, one person at a time. It can be in masterminds or group spaces like the channel. It can be on a massive stage in front of tons of people. But no matter what it is, the greatest intentions that you can have will change your life. When you decide this is how I want to touch the world, this is how I want to impact the world, and you live by that, it will change your life. And it will change parts of the world, but it won't always work the way you thought it would. It won't always be understood, and it won't always be liked, and it won't always be appreciated, even if it came from the right place, and it's still worth it. It's worth it when you wonder if it's not worth it. It's worth it when you feel someone missed the point. It's worth it when you feel people didn't get it. It's worth it. Because there are people who actually get changed by your presence on this planet. And the harder it becomes is because there's more and more people who like it, but more and more people who don't. And if you don't stay connected to the gratitude and you don't stay connected to your mission, the people who don't like it or who don't get it become louder than the people who do. This is why you've got to have people in your corner that love you for who you are, not just what you've done, not just because you nailed every single interaction and did everything perfectly. There's a space for you to fall and to stumble and to be imperfect, and they love you through your humanity. And that's what's missing now, I think, in the world, is more of us loving each other for who we are and supporting each other for what we want to do. Because we get to be both. We get to be loved for who we are and loved for what we've done. And that happens in sisterhood. It happens where I cheer you on for everything you've done, but I also forgive you for everything you've missed the point for. And we need that, or else it becomes a constant race for who's more successful and who's impressed who the most. And that's not sisterhood. That's not it. It's got to be that on the day where you're frumpy and the last thing you'd ever do is go out, that there's people that you could let into your home and say, I'm so grateful you're here. And that can happen in the real life space, and it can happen on the internet. And what I love about the internet is you can have people all over the world have your back. The women who've spoken here, they're from all over the world. They've got different backgrounds, different stories. Everyone is so different. And yet they just have each other's back. Like, we get to do that. And that is such an extraordinary thing. We put together this summit, and it was a divine intervention. Like, this is something that's been in the works before I knew what it would be, before they knew what it would be. And it has taken us 2 years to get to this place, to the place where people would happily show up for every channel call. These women have not only given their time up to come speak, but they've also invested all those hours to come and listen to every other speaker. This has been an investment of time, of energy, of love beyond what I could have imagined. I did not imagine that so much of you would show up for each other. Like, this was the greatest thing for me to see. And what I want to ask of the ones that are watching this right now is this. We want to invite you to be a part of the collective magic that happened here. And you know what that looks like for you. There's a person in your life that you might need to forgive. There's a person in your life that you might need to let in. There's a person in your life you might need to let off the hook. There's a mission that you might not be standing for. There's something great about you you haven't celebrated. There's something not so great about you that you've been hiding. Whatever that is, maybe it's time to put that down or pick it up wherever you are in your journey. And beyond that, the other thing is that every single woman that's shared here shared with the intention of really profoundly helping other women, either through their stories of personal triumph, even though life was extremely difficult. Some of the women here at certain times in their lives didn't think they'd see tomorrow. And I feel like there's so many stories of triumph in this channel. People who survived really, really horrendous and difficult things in their young childhood and their young adulthood and their adulthood, even in recent years. And the idea of this is like, I want my life to have mattered. I want even my pain to have mattered. I want my triumphs to have mattered. I want to be able to share it all and someone gets something from this. And that was the intention for every single speaker in the summit, is that someone would get something from their talk and it would make a difference. We wanted originally to pick a charity and have everyone donate to the same charity. And the last summit I did, I was really connected to a certain topic, and we raised about $100,000 for the suicide prevention hotline. And we were in deep discussions as a group, a lot of us trying to figure out what would be the place to donate to here. And it never quite felt perfect because so many of us had good causes, amazing causes to donate to. And so what we want to invite you to do is to pick a cause in your life, any cause, and to give whatever you can in the name of sisterhood, in the name of this summit, that you do it in the name of this summit. If you want to celebrate in the group, Jewel, that's awesome. If you want to celebrate with us in the Alpha Femme group and share with us where you've given, you absolutely can. If you want to keep it anonymous, you absolutely can. You don't need to say how much or what. That doesn't matter. What matters is that by listening to all of us, there's a pull inside of you to do something for somebody more than just you, to give. Because there's a lot of receiving in this summit, a lot of it. It can be anything. If it's a cause that's close to your heart, if it's a cause that's close to your life, if it's a cause that's close to your community, whatever it is, to just make a decision tonight with yourself in honor of this sisterhood to say, I'm a part of this too, and I can give back as well, and choose one place to give back to. There are so many opportunities in life where we can do beautiful things, but it's rare that there's a big meaning behind the things that we do. And I think there's one common thread behind every speaker that spoke here today, is that there were moments in their lives where there was deep meaning. And in those moments of deep meaning, they made a move. And sometimes it was a meaning, I don't know what it means, like the channel calling of, I think I need to do this thing, I don't know what it means. But for some it was, make this offer you didn't know you were supposed to, or pivot your career, or leave the marriage, or forgive the marriage, or call this one person, or forgive this one person. There's so many stories of meaning. And when we listen to stories of meaning, we get chills and we feel it in our body, like, oh my gosh, that mattered, that meant something, because of that, you did ... We believe that what we did here is going to have a ripple far beyond what we did here. And as a matter of fact, that was one of the first things the channel ever told me. When I opened it, it said, this will last way longer than you think. And this will be way bigger than you think. This will be so much bigger than you think. And so if you take what happened here and it takes you into a different direction, if you say, I don't know where this summit appeared in my life, and I watched it, and from that space, I decided to ... then we did a really freaking epic thing. And then it wasn't just us. It was us, and it was you, and it was me, and it was you, and it was us. And that's really what this summit was about. And so whether this is the day you decide to give, whether this is the day you decide to forgive, whether this is the day you decide to go forward with something that you felt you weren't ready for, like we would love if this summit is part of how your life moves. And the only way that happens is if you say, what can I create from here? To take the words from Anis's chat today. Like, what if this is a beginning for you of some sort? And so giving is such an incredible piece of the puzzle for all of us. Sisterhood, for most people, they imagine it's being able to receive from friends, having a group of people that give to you. But I think the breakthrough that the 33 women that spoke here really got is that sisterhood is the feeling inside where there's just so much to give. Where you think you're already full and there's no space for anything else, and all of a sudden you've got space for like 33 more people to love. And if they needed something, you'd be there in a freaking click of a fingers, because they matter. And that's sisterhood. And you know that they feel the same about you. And so there are people in your world that could be the closest people in your life, but maybe you're waiting for them to be a sister and they're waiting for you to be a sister. Maybe this is the invitation to say, I show up. When you look at this summit, you know, in video, there's one scene, and it reminds me of Lindsay now, and it always will, I think. But there's a scene where there's a woman outside the door, and she's at the door, or a woman's looking out the window and she's outside there by the car waving. Like, can you be that friend? Not the one that's always waiting for someone to show up at her door, but the one that shows up at the door. The one that says, I got you. And because you become able to say that, you more understand that people are available for you. Most of the time, we don't want to bother people. We don't want to bombard people. We don't want to overwhelm people. And so we wait all the time. We wait and wait and wait to see if someone's going to invite us. And there's times where we do get invited. But the greatest sisterhoods are the ones where we have a real deep chat and we say, should we be the kind of friends where we just kind of show up at each other's house and care? Or we just kind of message each other to see how one another are doing? Can we be that kind of friend to each other? And my intention with the channel as it moved forward was to make sure that every woman that was in the channel had the opportunity to show up and come and bring snacks and share snacks. Because as we found out, snacks means love. Sharing your snacks, sharing your room, sharing your snacks, sharing your makeup. This is love. But what I really wanted to hold space for during these 2 years of the channel is that there really was a common thread that held us all together. And there were times where it was wobbly and we had to find our footing, but that's what's missing right now. As soon as people don't like something about someone, or aren't certain that they're on the same page, or think they may have grown out of something, or they're too busy, or they're going through their own thing, or they're not being seen, they pull the plug very fast. And there are times I could have decided to shut the channel. I could have said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to expedite the calls. Let's just take all the calls and let's just get them all done. Let's just get them all done real fast. And let's just do this thing and we'll do the summit and that'll be it. And instead I stretched the channel. I said, we're not there yet. Let's take more time. Let's take more time because we're not there yet. What would happen if you gave more time to what you care about? More time, more space, more love, more care to your dreams, to your goals, to your friends, to your family, to whoever it is that you're wanting to create deep bonds with. What if instead of trying to accelerate the process, or there's an expiration date, which is what I think we're all very used to, and we just add more time for there to be understanding, more time for there to be compassion, more time for there to be healing, more time for things to turn around. I was in an interview not too long ago and someone asked me, what would you like to say to the people who have decided that they hate you? I was like, ow. And I said, well, what I would say is give me 10 years and give yourself 10 years and let's give us 10 years and let's see how you feel then. Life is too long and too short to make decisions like that you're done with a person, that it's over forever. Give yourself 10 years, give them 10 years, take a break if you need, but don't give up. There's beautiful people on this planet, and I really believe that they are doing their absolute best to figure themselves out. I have walked with people of all walks of life. I have walked with soft people who had a lot of anger inside, and I have walked with angry people that had a lot of love inside. And you could have judged one or the other and been wrong both ways. It doesn't matter what people appear to be, it's who they are that matters. And if you never give yourself a chance to find out what that really means, then you lose. And so this is why I read the bios last. Because yes, these women are impressive, but they're impressive because they didn't let go of their dreams. They didn't just wake up one morning successful and joyful and married and mothers, and that didn't just happen overnight. That's who they became. It's a byproduct. And I wanted you to have the experience of meeting them and being with them, and then hearing about what all the beauty it is that they had accomplished. I know that sometimes my accomplishments enter the room before I do. And although I'm so proud and I'm so grateful of everything that I have created in my life, there's times I miss walking into a room where people just want to know me. And so no matter who your successful friends are, care about who they are. And your friends that haven't broken through yet, care about who they are. It's not just about what you do in this life. It's about who you are. And that matters so deeply. And you might think you want the accolades and you might think you want the admiration if it's lacking right now, but on the day that you have it, you'll realize what weighs more, love or like. And you'll realize you prefer that people love you than that people like you. This journey has been so powerful for me. And I know that I was not liked every step of the way, but I do not doubt that there was love every step of the way. And that for me makes it worth the entire journey. We are all here for whatever reason we are on this planet. And most of the people who are drawn to the Alpha Fam group or end up doing programs with me, or we have idealistic views of what could be possible. We've got this dream, we can make an impact on the world, that we can change our family's situation, that we can do extraordinary big things. Like, we believe in big things. But that doesn't mean there isn't a very human part of us that needs to just have a place to land sometimes. So I hope with all of my heart that this summit, if you got one thing from this summit, I think you got like at least 33 things, and then probably like 99 things, and then probably like way more than that. But I want to thank you for showing up with us. And I want to thank all of the participants of the channel. I want to thank you so much for wanting to be who you are in this world. I want to thank you for who you were for each other. And I want to thank you for humoring me on this crazy adventure where it all started crazy and it ended up making sense. I want to really thank you for having done that, because I think a lot of people get to be changed by what happened here. It's very rare that you see a summit that is not just put together by people who know each other, but people who love each other. 33 people who know and love each other, who've been doing life together for 2 years. That is a very rare thing. It represents something so much more than individuality at this point. It represents unity, diversity and unity, unified but different, equal power but different, shoulder to shoulder, eye to eye. That's really the beauty of all this. And if we realize what we're capable of as we see our own beauty and the beauty in other people without needing to compare, but rather coming together the way we did here, and the sky isn't even the limit. Because I could not have put together this summit speaking all by myself for 11 days. And every speaker on their own, one call at a time, would not have been it. It was the connection of all of us. Every message, every story, every energy, every person, every way that made this what it is. So what I would love is just this last minute moment to anchor in this beautiful journey. If you want to just take a deep breath. I actually love doing this with eyes open because it isn't a dream, it's a reality. So with your eyes open, I just want you to take a very big breath in and get really clear that today is a real day in your life. Like, this is one day in your life. However you spent it, there was things that you took away from it, and there's things that you'll forget, but that's life. And tomorrow when you wake up, it'll be the same opportunity over again. And it's the same for every single one of us. If you can imagine the 33 of us, wherever we are in the world, whether it's in Europe and in Dubai and in, all over the world, in Canada and the US and in Europe, like, we're all over the place. If you can just imagine all of our lights, Puerto Rico, Mexico, all over the place. And then in the gaps between us, you. and how beautiful this entire summit was. For me, for you, for us. If you can get that sequence in your life, you'll realize that when you give everything to someone, you only ever have, I did everything I could for you. Whether you give your partner everything for you, whether you give your kids, I did everything for you. Whether you give your friends, I did everything for you. Whether you give your clients, I did everything for you. If you don't give me first, there's no us. And us is the magic. Us is the sisterhood. Us is the channel. The only difference between being alone and being us is that me and you both matter. And so invite yourself into your life, invite people, create an us, and see how far your life goes. This is not just about you being seen. This is not just about people getting you. This is about you showing up with your own chair and snacks and saying, I belong here. In any room, if you've been feeling like your family hasn't invited you enough, bring a chair and sit down. You'll be surprised what happens. If you've got a friend circle you feel likes everybody else more than you, get rid of the story and just show up and see what happens. This life, it's ready for you. And I think if you manifested the channel, it was because there's a place in your life where you haven't let yourself belong. There's a seat with your name on it and you haven't been sitting in it. Sit in it, whether it's in your business, in your friendships, in your family, in your marriage, with your kids. Claim the seat that you haven't been sitting in. And I would love to hear your stories in Alpha Femme. If you have a celebration, wherever you end up giving, if you give to a charity, if there's anything you want to celebrate, anything you want to be seen in, share it with us. We actually really care about what this has done for you as well. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take a moment and feel the energy of everybody here for a second, because we're all feeling very similar things. You can be alone in your room, in your house, and you can feel what you feel, or you can amplify that feeling and realize that we're all feeling the same thing. And one moment, for me, for you, for us, a feeling of gratitude, a feeling of completion. Equal parts, no, equal parts. And a whole other world tomorrow. Thank you for being on this journey. It has meant the world to all of us. Enjoy your lives. Go find the us that you're meant to co-create in this world. And we will see you on the internet.